The dreaded taxes. So this was a difficult hurdle for me to get over as a European seller. So today I'll go over where to get your statements, how to break down your CSV into a simple format, and how to keep your accounting costs low. Now let's get into it. But first off, I do want to put a disclaimer out there and say that I'm not a tax professional nor an accountant. So I would always advise that you talk to someone like that to get the best advice for your business. And this video will also not cover VAT, as I've already made a video about that previously. Alright, so the first thing that we actually gotta do is that we actually gotta head into Etsy, go into finances and the monthly statements. Then we gotta go to the month that we actually want to download the statement for. A statement is basically just a collection of everything that's happened on your Etsy account during a given month. So then we click generate CSV and then download VAT statement. Now we got those, then we head into Google Sheets and then we click blank spreadsheet and then we click import and then upload, and then we just upload, drag and drop the file that we just downloaded from Etsy into here, the CSV file. And then we get something that looks kind of like this. I do want to keep my Etsy shop private, so I've made all of the numbers ones, and I've cut out a lot of information because I do want to keep my Etsy shop private. But to make sense of this whole thing, I've actually made a template that I just copy and paste into every statement that I actually work on. It's just to make everything simple and easy to understand. You can easily make this template yourself if you want to, but if you want, I actually have a link down below in the description if you want to purchase it, because then you can just use exactly what I use. So I just press J here, the J column, then Shift, and then I press S. So I mark all of these columns, and then I copy this, and then just paste this into the J column here. So my statement will look something like this. What this basically does is that I take all of this information that is in the statement, and then I just line them all up into each specific column, so it's easy to understand it. Now, the second thing that I do is that I take this net column here, I copy and paste this into this column here. What I then do actually is that, since I live in Sweden, and I think Etsy's time zone is in Los Angeles, not sure about that, but I think it's another time zone than my own. This means that when there's an overlap of months, it's usually a bit delayed when it comes to Etsy. So I actually usually get some sales that's basically on my Etsy statement the month after the month that I'm looking at. So if I look, for instance, on February, I will have some February sales and some February events that's happened on the March statement. So the first thing that we actually got to do is that we actually got to head to the month after. So we go back into Etsy, we go to finances, monthly statements. I looked at November 2023 statement here. So then I just take December's statement. We can just see that there's so many for November here at the very back. So many events that happen on November 30th. And this is actually not included in November statement. It's only included in December statement. So the first thing that we actually got to do is find where it stops, where it counts as December 1st. So we can count all of the November's events on November statements. So we just go through this until we find where it stops. Here we go. Here it actually stops. So all the way up to here, we actually got to include this from the previous statement into our current statement to get it accurately. We basically then just download the other statement that we just got. We find where this exact point where they actually are, and then we just take these out of December statements and include these in the statements in November that we're currently working on. So it's really important to take them out of December as well, so we don't double it up. But we take them out in the December statement and we include these in the November statement that we are currently working on. Now, I want to find an easy way to manage this. So I always make sure to format this in a way where I can just press this column and see exactly which numbers in this column. So the first thing that I do after this point is that I just go to find and replace. So edit and then find and replace. I remove all the minuses. So I press minus here to find all the minuses. I find them and then replace them with nothing so that they're gone. And then I do the same thing with the currency, which is my Swedish, which is the SEK, which is Swedish kroner. I find them and then I replace them all. And now it looks like this. And now when I press this, I can actually get a number here, which is what I'm looking for. If you don't get this, then there's a chance that it's not formatted as numbers. In those cases, just say count or something like that. Then just go to format and then number, and then just make sure that they're formatted as numbers here. The thing that I do after this part is that I just press Command A and then Command A again. If you're on a Windows, I think it's Control A, and then just press data and then create a filter, because I want to be able to filter by a certain value so I can just see one specific thing. So here's the type of thing that's happened. We have fees, we have taxes, we have sales. So we can break this down by just looking at, for instance, all the deposits. So that's what we're going to look at now. Here's all the deposits. I want to match my bank account statements with this statement. So I have my bank account here as an example, and then I do the same thing with the filters. I press Command A, and then I take data, create a filter, and then I just want to sort this by deposits. These are the deposits that's been made by Etsy, and then I just copy these. I paste them into, let's paste them here, just for ease of use. This one does not match up. And that's actually because this one was put on the previous statement. On my previous statement, there was a deposit that was made that was not accounted for in this statement. So this one actually came for the previous month's deposit. So I just go into my previous one that I've made. Let's say that I've made this one here. Then I've basically just made a note at the very end here on deposits and just say should be, let's say that it's this exact line. That's actually a deposit. And then I just say should be accounted for next month. Something like that. So what I then do when I have this new statement that I'm working on, I go back to my previous one. I copy the one that I've made this note on. Let's just take that. And then I just go way to the bottom here. I add some lines. Let's add 2 lines. And then I just copy and paste that here. So it's accounted for in this one. Super easy. So if we go back into the deposits here, we'll take out this one that does not match, just for ease of use. This first one right here. And then we just take this and we just copy it. It's really important to copy and not drag in this, because otherwise the numbers can really become weird. So just copy, delete, and then paste here so that we can see if they match. Now they should match. So, because the main thing that actually differed, as I mentioned, was that the first deposit was on the Etsy statement. It was stated for in the previous month, but it's actually on my bank account put the next month because of the time overlap. So if I take that out, they should match, except for the last one, because then it's the same thing there. So let's see here. This one matches, 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 matches. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, and then there's 2 here. So according to the Etsy statement here, as we just talked about, in November there's been 2 more deposits. But according to the bank account, it could be because it's a bank holiday or something like that, or that they just haven't been able to process the money yet, so it's in your bank account. This means that these will be accounted for in next month's statement. So what I do here is that I just write on deposits here on these lines, accounted for next month. I just write that here, and same thing in the other one, because these will basically be in the next month's statements. I usually always go and double check that with my bank statement as well for the month after, just to make sure that it's correct. But it's when it comes to this, it's actually never been wrong. It's always accounted for in the next month, in the next month's statement, in my experience. And when I have this, I just copy this and take these out, and then I just add these on the deposits line here. And there we go. Because then we can just see all the deposits here made and the sum of it. Now, these are all the events that's happened, excluding the deposits. Now we just want to put them on each line so we can easily, at a glance, digest what's happened during a given month. So the first thing that we got to do is that we actually got to look at the credits. So when someone has, like, for instance, canceled an order or refunded an order or something like that, you get credit for a transaction fee, a processing fee, and a listing fee, I think. But you get basically credits on fees. from Etsy since they have been refunded. So what we then do here is that we go to title, and then we just filter by condition, and then text contains, we include credit here. These are all the credits that's happened during a given month for different types of events like processing fees, transaction fees, listing fees, etc. We take these, we highlight these, we copy these, we delete these in this line, and we just paste it onto the credit line. The second thing that we do is that we take away this so that it's not filtered by anything. The second thing that we do is that we just go into each bracket here. So the first thing was the credit. The second thing is the sales, including taxes. And that's, if we filter, go to type and then filter by sale, we have all the payments that happen for every single order here. So we copy these, we delete these, and we then just insert these into sales, including tax. And then we do the same thing for all the taxes. But this one is a bit different. This one also includes refunds. So we also got to make sure to filter this one more time. And then just have all the sales tax, not the refunds. So we just refund, we go to the title here and then just exclude refund to buyer. And then we take all of these. We just take the whole line instead. And we delete this in this bar and we put this in the sales tax bar. And then we take this one out and we go to the refunds instead. So the refunds sales tax, we go back and then we take all the refunds tax that we have in this bracket here. And then we want to have all of these selected again, so we don't have any filters on. What I then do is that I just want to take sales excluding tax to have like a final amount here. So then we can see that it's this number right here. So this minus this is the final price excluding, the final sales excluding tax. After that, we want to go to refunds. Same thing, we just take this column, copy here, delete here, paste this into the refunds bracket. So now we have refunds sales here, refunds tax here. I actually missed one here. So sometimes when you don't have enough balance in your Etsy account and there's a refund made, they actually charge this on your own personal bank account. And then you get a separate event. It's called payment here. And it's called charge here. But it's basically a charge on your bank account for the refund that was made when it was not enough balance in your Etsy account. But then we gotta make sure to include that specific event here. So if that's happened during a month and you have another title here, another type that's called payment, and then it says in the title here like charge for refund or something like that, then you just include that here. So it's also accounted for in the statement. Now we have refunds tax here, and then I also always do the same thing as I do with the sales. I take the refunds excluding tax. So I take this minus the taxes, refunds excluding tax. And there we go. That's the whole ordeal. What we can now do is that we can see how much we've actually spent on Etsy exactly during a given month. We can see how much credits we've actually got from Etsy during a given month. We can see how much sales including tax we've got. We can see how much sales tax we've actually paid. That's then automatically remitted by Etsy to a given tax authority. We can see how much we have actually sold during a given month on Etsy with this here. And we can also see the refunds, including taxes here. This month it was nothing was taken from the bank account, so nothing will be put here. But if you have one event that was actually taken from your bank account, you add this here, so you also include that. That's a separate type, as I mentioned before. And then you can see exactly how much tax you have here, and then you can see how much you have excluding tax here, which is this part right here. And then you can also see how much deposits that actually been made to your bank account. So this is basically what I do to break down my CSV into an easy and digestible format. If you want this exact template that I copy into every CSV that I make, you can download it in the description down below. But it's super simple to make, so you can also make it yourself if you feel that you don't want to put up the money yet. Totally understandable. All right, so why do I even do this? Because usually an accountant can do this, but an accountant is just a human being just like you and me. And the good thing about doing it this way, like for me, I want to keep my accountant costs low, especially if I was in the beginning. It's super important to keep costs low, to not get too much overhead. And if I do it like this, I make it super easy for my accountant to actually see what's going on in the business. Because at a glance, they can just see, okay, so this is how much fees they've paid, that's been paid. This is how much credit that's been made. This is how much they've sold. This is how much sales tax they've sold. This is how much it is excluding taxes that they've actually sold. It's just super easy for them to be able to understand what's been going on in the business. Otherwise, they have to figure this stuff out. It took me a while to figure this out. I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. And alleviating a lot of the headaches that comes with doing this whole thing every month, for me at least, it's enabled me to keep my accountant costs low, so he doesn't have to do this every single month and figure this stuff out. It's a great way to just make your life easier. All right, so we just covered the practical part of doing our Etsy statements and Etsy taxes. It's a big topic to cover, so I definitely haven't covered every single part here. If there's anything that you feel that I've missed or so, just drop a comment down below and I'll see if I can make a part 2. I'll see you in the next one.